Hello to all my fellow brothers and sisters out there in the YouTube universe and world. Seth Dark Arts back once again with a 12th video. And yes, I am naked. Man, you know what? Sometimes you have to just go with the flow and how you feel. And today, I'm having one of my nudist moments. Now, obviously, I can't be full nude on YouTube because then my video would be blocked and my message would not get out to the people that I want to communicate with. But yeah, sometimes you just have to go with how you feel, man. And this is one of those moments where I'm in the mood to be naked. So this is me, and to each his own. And you know, it's funny that being naked, for some reason, is considered indecent, disgusting, crazy. And you have to ask yourself why. You know, I ask people this all the time. I ask my students this that I teach and at school, and I just asked them, you know, I asked them quite recently. I said, well, what's wrong with being naked? You know, I was like, well, what's wrong with it exactly? And they were like, well, you know, it's just not proper. And I'm like, well, what's not proper about it? I mean, do you call a baby disgusting when a baby is born? You know, we don't say, oh my God, that's disgusting. It's a baby, he's naked. You know, we come into the world naked, and we take on all these rules and belief systems that are complete nonsense. If I wanted to walk down the street naked, and I'm not hurting anybody, and I'm not doing anything, you know, sexual or indecent, I'm just naked in my element, why should that be considered illegal? It's complete nonsense, you know. You have to think about these things. You have to just really think sometimes, who makes these rules up for society? Because some of them are so unbelievable sometimes. It's like a joke, you know. Now today's video, I'm probably going to jump around to a few different points. So if things seem a little unorganized, don't worry. That's what it's all about, spontaneity. And as you can tell, I'm feeling very spontaneous today. Now, yeah, man, I got a lot of stuff I want to share with you guys. One of them is an experience that I had personally last week. And basically, what happened was, I had a very powerful experience. Now, I know people are probably saying, damn, man, this guy has a powerful experience every day. And that's true. I do have powerful experiences on a daily basis. But sometimes I come across ones that are beyond the norm, you know, for myself anyway. And I'm really out there with crazy experiences. But sometimes even me, I get something that is so powerful and shocking that it even blows me away, you know. And basically what happened was, I went out of body, and I ended up in my mother's apartment back in New York. And I was in the apartment, and when I got there, I became conscious, and I said, okay, I'm conscious, I'm here. All right. And I always call out to my inner self. Now, let me break this down for you. The inner self is a part of you. And the inner self can also be the inner Seth, which I spoke about in my other videos. Basically, the inner self, you can give it any name you want. You can call it, you know, Bob the inner self, or Galactic, you know, whatever you want to call it, whatever name you want to throw out there. I call mine Seth because how I came about doing that. Now, I know I'm not saying this is the same Seth that has contacted Jane Roberts. I in no way am that delusional to say, yes, I'm contacting Seth also. However, though, and he even said it himself, we all have our own Seth within us. And he's many times in his audio and books said that his voice is our voice. And basically his voice is used just as a stimulus to reawaken us to our own powers and abilities, and to remind us of who we are. So the reason I started calling him Seth was because what happened was, I started, I had the voice. I told you the voice started, my inner self started contacting me. In the beginning, I just called it the voice. That was the name, the voice. The voice contacted me. And when I would talk to my friend, I'd be like, yeah, the voice told me this, and the voice came through. But I thought, it deserved a much better title than just the voice. And it wasn't actually a voice either. I mean, I called it the voice, but it was actually more of a telepathy kind of thing, communication inside my head. So it wasn't an audible voice coming, through the ears, not like that. And basically, when I started going out of body, he started to come through using the voice of Seth, the way Seth sounds, through the actual Seth that Jane Roberts contacted, the same way it sounds on the audio, and the video that they have of her doing her channeling on YouTube. And basically, yeah, it started coming through, and it said, it was the exact same voice, and it was a very powerful, booming voice. And it contacted me first, because one day I had this out of body, and I was doing something, and right before I woke up, the voice came through, and it kind of shocked me a little bit, because it was the voice of Seth, and it basically said to me, in that experience, it was like, pay attention to what's going on, and focus on your surroundings, and everything. It went into something deep. Unfortunately, see if I have it written down somewhere. I probably do. It contacted me, and I used the voice of Seth, and what did it say to me? It said something. I'm sorry, like I said, this video might seem a little unorganized, but as I'm looking for this thing, I will continue talking. Yeah, it contacted me, and it was exactly the same voice, and it kind of threw me for a loop, because I was like, wow, man, that was the same voice of Seth from Jane Roberts. But I never actually believed or felt that this was the exact same Seth that she had contacted. And yes, here it goes, I believe. But if you're not what I believe, you have to prove yourself. Why you want to? Okay, no, actually, I made a mistake. All right, let's forget about that. Because I can't find it. This always happens, you come up with something great and then you can't find it. But anyway, basically, yes, he contacted me, and it started giving me some real deep pearls of wisdom, man. Like, it was really dropping some bombs on me, and I thought, wow, this is heavy, some heavy stuff. So what happened was, I decided to just go with it. And every time I went out of body, I would just call out. I would say, Seth, are you here? And his voice would come out. It would never take on a physical appearance, but the voice would just echo from the sky or from wherever. And it would always say things exactly what I would imagine Jane Roberts Seth to say. And there was in one of her ESP classes on the audio, there was an experience where one student went out of body, and he said that he thought he heard Seth's voice, and he was telling Seth the experience. And Seth basically said the same thing. He said the voice is your own voice. And it was your own interpretation of what you believed what I might say. So, yeah, I could vibe with that. And, yes, I just started calling him Seth. That was the name. And he told me, hey, that's not bad, and okay. And he basically told me that I could call him anything I wanted to call him. Any name that I came up with would have been fine, because he has no name, and it's just a part of myself. And I have no name. This goes into a much deeper level. We're all nameless, basically. We just take on these names because we're in physical reality, but no name can really describe who or what we actually are. So, yeah, whatever your name is and my name, it doesn't really matter. So, we're just here, and we're much more powerful, too powerful to be contained by just a simple name. So anyway, I'm going on a rant here. Back to my story. I went into this out of body in my mother's apartment, and Seth spoke. I called out. I said, Seth, are you here? And he said, yes. And this is when something crazy happened, man. This is one of those experiences again, just like in my last video, that cannot be put into words. But this one I could describe it, but it still won't do it any justice. When his voice spoke to me, and like I said, this is my inner self, if you want to call it your inner guide or your higher guardian self or your archangel, whatever title you want to give it. It was my inner self. And when he spoke, the voice was so powerful. Something happened. Something exploded in my consciousness. While I was in this reality, something it felt like in my mind, it just exploded. Like, man, this was like, just, God, I can't even explain it. Just, like nuclear warheads, just a flash. Whatever you see those videos when they talk about the Big Bang and things like that. It was literally just something like that. And I felt it in my head, and it just went. It was no sound. It was a flash, a bright flash. And I literally experienced and felt everything. I know this is crazy, but I felt everything that existed in the universe in one moment. I know people are going to say this is some BS, but this is what happened, man. Yeah, I literally felt, and like I said, I can't really break it down into words. Sometimes there are feelings that cannot be verbalized, and anyone who's into this stuff and has had their own experiences, you will know what I'm talking about. Not everything can be expressed in terms of language, but I'm trying to right now, and it was so powerful. This explosion, that I literally felt everything that existed, ever did exist, and ever will exist, present, past, and future, in one flash of a moment, just like boom. And I came back, and it was so powerful that I wouldn't say I was scared, but I was more like paralyzed from the power of this. And when I was in this reality inside my mother's apartment, there were some other people there who I didn't know, and I was like, oh my God, did you feel that? And two people were like, yeah, we felt it. And then some other people were coming into the apartment. I asked them, I said, did you feel it? And they said, no, I don't know what you're talking about. So they didn't feel it either. They didn't feel it, but the other two people did. And it really shook me, man. Not shook me to a point of being afraid, but it's just like, this is my interpretation of what happened. And this is what my inner self told me, or my inner Seth. It basically told me that was my own power. That was the power that I am in contact with, and that all of us are in contact with. We all have that much power, but it cannot be fully utilized or experienced in the physical body while we are in three-dimensional physical reality. That level of power can only be experienced when we leave physical reality and when we're mature enough to handle that kind of power. And that just says something very deep and profound, man. It's like, I mean, wow, just thinking about it blows me away, because on one end it makes you think, and the other end it makes you excited. I'm not ready to leave physical reality yet. I'm not ready to die or cross over, but it also makes you excited, because it's like, damn, if that's what what I had to look forward to when I cross over, man, I can't wait, And like I said, I'm not ready to die or leave this reality right now. And there's no death, I know. But I have to use these terms for people to understand. But yeah, that's what's awaiting all of us. Even you, whoever's watching this video. Yeah, the power of... Yeah, I don't want to go on a rant talking about it, but like I just said, I literally felt deep within my core the existence of everything that existed across all time, all levels of just everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. From every rock down to every blade of grass, every ant. Now I know this might sound like some people, like some powerful DM tree. Let me stop playing around. No DM tree. DMT or ayahuasca experience in Peru, down in the Amazon. But you can have these experiences without doing any of that stuff. Now, I'm not knocking it, and yes, I would love to go to Peru at some point in the future to partake in a ayahuasca experience. But you can have these experiences. You don't have to dwell on just, say, a psychedelic experience for this. If you want to do it, to each his own, and those can be very fun. I know. But at the same time, this is what makes me shocked with a lot of people. Like I said, I'm not knocking anyone who's into the psychedelics, and they're great. Definitely, they're great. But the thing is, everyone goes on these things, and they're like, yeah, well, I had this psychedelic trip, and I saw this, and I saw an alien, and then I saw this other world. And I'm like, well, I just don't understand why everybody gets so worked up about it, even though it is beautiful and nice. But we have the exact same experiences, if not better, when we have our out-of-body experiences, or what people will call lucid dreams, or what I like to just simply call as crossing over. We experience the exact same thing, with a touch of clarity. I mean, we could actually be aware with all of our senses there. So I don't know why people get so worked up with this stuff. And just from my own personal evaluation, I've noticed that the people who do really just get crazy, like, oh my God, I did this psychedelic, and I saw this, and I saw that. These are people who are not really into, at least not in the beginning, they have never really been into their deep lucid dream or out-of-body experiences. Not to the level of where they're doing it on a regular basis.